Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, hi everybody, happy whatever day you're seeing this on. Sorry it's late. Okay everybody, future me popping in here real quick. I have some exciting news. The storytime link is fixed, okay? So those of you who have been trying to send in your story times or you want to send in your anonymous story times, make sure to click the links down below. So yeah, back to the video. So let's just get into today's story time. I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who may be new here, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown for most of the video. I'll be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. I can't remember if I wore my reindeer headband in the last video, so I think we're gonna wear it today. Okay, so story time about how my ex-boyfriend made me lose my job because he was like a freak. No, I'm kidding. He was just like really fucking toxic. Oh my gosh, wait, I have this Christmas Mickey and Minnie one. Wait, I have this one too. Okay. Which one should we do? I don't think I've ever wore this one. Let's see. Absolutely not. No. Okay, I think we're gonna do this one. That's as good as this is gonna get. Okay, so a little background information. This whole thing happened whenever I was 21 years old. And this story basically starts at my mom's funeral. Love that for me. Anyways, because that is the day that my whole entire life changed. My dad went into a pretty deep depression and started drinking 24/7, which meant that I had to take a step up and take the role of being a parent to my younger brother, Ethan. Like, I worked a full-time job, and then I would come home at like 1 in the morning to see my dad sitting at the kitchen table watching TV, but with the TV muted, which creeped me out a lot of the time. But then again, when you're getting as hammered as he was, who needs to hear the TV when you're probably making up the dialogue in your head? Anyways, I'd usually be like, hey dad, what are you doing? Try to start a little bit of a conversation. But most of the time he would just roll his eyes. Or if I was lucky, he might be like, where's your brother? Like, okay, fuck you too. Just kidding, just kidding. Everybody grieves in their own way. But still. I think it's because I look like my mom though. I think that seeing me just made him sad, which sounds so bad, but like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, my brother spent most of his time hanging out in the garage, which was the only thing that really felt normal around this time, because if my mom hadn't passed away, that's what him and my dad would usually be doing on any day of the week. So yeah, fast forward a few weeks after the funeral, I came into the house after work and nobody was in the house, which at first I was like, okay, maybe my dad decided to take my brother out, do a little bit of bonding time, period. Like, that would have made me happier than anything. But of course, that was not the case. Instead, I hear voices outside, so I go look out the kitchen window and it's my brother, Ethan, and 3 of his best friends, Liam, Ty, and Noah, who I hadn't seen since a few weeks before the funeral, but I was really happy to see them at the house, because that meant that finally Ethan was not alone. Because honestly, I just felt like he had been isolating himself way too much. So I decided to grab a bottle of water from the fridge and go outside with them. Now, usually any time that they would be over my house before my mom passed away and I would talk to them about anything, I would usually tell them to shut the fuck up because they were being too loud or just annoying as fuck. So whenever I do walk out there, they all look at me like, oh fuck. But I was like, don't worry y'all, I come in peace. I'm not gonna be a bitch to y'all today. You're lucky my mom just died. Y'all, if you hear the little foots shaking, I'm so sorry. I hope that doesn't ruin this video. Should I take it off now? No. Anyways, but yeah, so I say that, they all laugh, and usually I would never in my life voluntarily spend time with any of them, but it was nice being surrounded by people who weren't just constantly asking me about my mom. Anyways, after this night, that basically became the routine. A routine that I was quite comfortable with, to be honest. Like, every night I would come home from work, see the boys outside, sitting around the fire pit, and even if I wasn't sitting out there some nights, I slept better knowing that my brother wasn't alone. Also, during this time, I started working a shit ton because the bills sure as hell weren't gonna pay themselves, the groceries weren't gonna buy themselves, the car wasn't gonna run on fucking oxygen. And it's not that my dad was useless during this time, because I mean, he still worked, he still paid for things, but there was definitely no sitting down, me and him, figuring things out together, how we were gonna make shit work. Nope, none of that. None of that. Instead, he would come home, grab a beer out of the fridge, or he would disappear to the bar. How do I know? Well, it's not like he would tell me, but the owner of my dad's favorite bar, the one that he would go to all the time, the owner and I kind of were like best friends. We became best friends very quickly, actually, because he would have to call me and be like, hey, your dad is way too fucked up right now. Come and get him. So yeah, like, I'm sorry, but I'm the one who's 21. Isn't that supposed to be me? Anyway, so yeah, I was 21 and I felt like I was fucking 40. So fast forward, the boys are outside again. I decide to go out and sit with them. And instead of it being my brother's usual group of friends, there was a new boy there. So I go and I sit next to my brother and I'm like, who is that? And he was like, oh, that's my friend Jace. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's like kind of cute. But no, because he's 18 years old. No. And he's my brother's friend. Bigger no. So in my head, even though I was thinking that he was super fun, I shut that shit down immediately. Anyway, so the same night, after an hour, I decide to go and make some food because it's like everybody fucking starves when I'm not around. But as I'm walking inside, I hear Jace say, I can help. And this caught me off guard. I'm like, what? Like, sir, I don't know you. I don't know you. No, I'm kidding. I didn't say that, but in my head I was thinking that because it's like, why are you offering to help me? So I'm like, no, I got it. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, very sure. Thank you. Don't need help. Anyway, so I make the food and I bring the plates out for the boys. And then after we're all done eating, I grab everyone's plates, and when I walk inside, I go to shut the door behind me and Jace is standing there. And I look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I just wanted to let you know if you need help, I can help. And then now I'm like, what is going on? Y'all, have you ever just hated one of your eyebrows so badly that it's painful? This eyebrow right here has been testing me for the past like 3 fucking years. So he's like, well, I just wanted to let you know that, again, I'm here if you need help. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Now, this was the start of him doing little things, okay? Like, after that first night that I met him, all of a sudden, every time I came home from work, he was there. Mind you, whenever I got home from work, that meant get into mom mode straight away. AKA everybody's fucking slave. Do everybody's laundry, cook for everybody, clean for everybody, wipe everybody's fucking ass. But yeah, like I said, he would be there. Which seems nice, don't get me wrong, but when you're actively trying to avoid catching feelings for somebody, it's not. It's not. Every time that he would offer me help, I would basically tell him to go back outside with my brother. And if I'm being honest, it truly felt like I was dealing with like a child, because I'm like, he'd be like, oh, do you need help with this? I'd be like, no, go back outside with Ethan. Ugh, like I really did feel like I was fucking 40. But then eventually it got to the point where I would tell him, no, I don't want help, and he would help me anyways. Like, this man made it extremely hard for me not to catch feelings for him. After I would make dinner, I would be like, all right, y'all, I'm going upstairs to make a shower. I would come back downstairs, he's washing dishes or wiping the counters off for me. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I should have known that all these green flags in this man should have meant that something was wrong. Okay? I should have known. If something seems like it's too good to be true, it usually is. He may have seemed like my knight in shining armor. He may have seemed like my knight in shining armor, but he was a wolf dressed in thieves' clothing. Thieves. Why? What the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. He was a wolf dressed in sheep's clothing, okay? That reminds me of the first ever YouTube story time that I did where I said sports bra and grill, and you guys flame me in the comments. Okay, back to the story. So then, another thing that he does. So the one day I have off and I go into the kitchen to start making breakfast for everyone, because half the time they would all get drunk and just spend the night. So yeah, I go to open the fridge and what do you know? There's no milk. There's no milk. So I'm like, okay, fuck guys, I forgot to go get milk. I'm gonna go put some clothes on and I'll go to the store and grab some. Everybody's like, okay. Well then 10 minutes later, I'm walking down the stairs about to grab my keys when I see Jace walk in the front door and he has milk in his hand. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I was going to the store anyways. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Nope. Nope, he was not. That is not at all what that man was. No, just no. And then whenever my brother said something to me, I started avoiding him 10 times more than I was already trying to avoid him. Because the one day, or the one night, I come home from work and my brother's in the kitchen and I'm like, hey, where is everybody? And he's like, oh, they're outside. He was like, but your boyfriend's not here tonight. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Jace. And at that moment, I was like, fuck, no, 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 no. Not happening. So I go into extreme panic mode, avoiding him like he is the Black Plague. Like now, anytime that I would come home from work, I would make sure to turn my headlights off down the street so that way the boys didn't see my car. Because that's usually what would happen. He would see my headlights and then he would go into the house and be there whenever I would walk in. And it's just not, I wasn't having this. No, not the vibe. No, it was not. And if he did catch me, I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot something in my car. And I'd run out to my car and drive down the street and just sit there and smoke a cig. And the one time he literally walked down the street to my car to confront me. Like I remember I'm just sitting in there smoking a cig. He comes and he knocks on the window. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I roll down the window. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, why are you acting weird? And I'm like, what do you mean acting weird? I'm always weird. And he's like, no, but you're acting weirder. I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Okay, now let me fast forward to where he tells me that he has feelings for me, okay? Because, listen, there's a whole bunch to happen in between, but we still gotta get to him being a fucking demon, okay? Literally a demon. Alright, maybe he's not being a demon. I just really think that he has some insecurities and stuff like that that he needs to deal with, but still, not okay. No. No, 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 no. So basically, my brother gets accepted into college, and a week before he leaves, he tells me that every single day of that week, he wants to be able to have his friends over and have girls over, and yeah, basically that's it. So that entire week, I decided to stay out of his way because I'm sorry, but I'm 21 years old. I'm not about to be hanging out with a bunch of 18-year-olds. It's not happening. No. Like, I'm too grown for all that. So, majority of the week, I spend upstairs in my room whenever I get home from work. And then, I don't know what the hell happened, but about 4 days into that week, I think I was just thinking about my dad, the fact that I was going to be alone in the house now, not have anybody, my mom being dead, all that shit. And I kind of just, like, freaked out. So, I went downstairs. I started taking shots. And then eventually, somehow, I find myself alone with Jace on the way to McDonald's. And while we're in the McDonald's line, we're talking and he's like, why'd you decide to drink tonight? And I was like, oh, like, I'm just really upset about, you know, my brother leaving and everything. And I'm like, you know, I hate being alone, blah, blah, blah. Probably not the best thing to say to him, considering the fact that he's been trying to give me company the whole time that he's been friends with my brother and I've been shutting him down. But he's like, well, I'll still be here. And I'm like, but you're my brother's friend. And I was like, and I don't think we should be hanging out. And he was like, yeah, but I'm your friend too. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, but, and he's like, but what? And I'm like, well, I don't really, and then he's like, I like you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you didn't need to say that. You did not need to say that, sir. But he said it. So, I was like, guys, this could not have happened at a perfect time. I had to puke. He probably thought that I was puking at the thought of him liking me. But yeah, I opened up the passenger door, puked out the door. That was a good save thing to happen because I did not need to finish that conversation. Now fast forward, my brother leaves for college and I don't hear from Jace. He didn't stop at the house or anything like that. Which, I mean, okay, after the way I acted during that conversation, why would you? But at the same time, it's like, why aren't you gonna fight for me? Be so fucking for real. And I realized at this point that I really like Jace. So I decide that it's time for me to get back into the dating world. Now, I know you guys are probably like, well, bitch, if you liked him, why wouldn't you just go for him? Why are you just gonna jump back into the dating world? Because listen, the reason why I had also closed myself off from talking to him or liking him was because before my mom passed away, I had been in a really toxic relationship, like very, very, very abusive mentally, physically, and all of that. So I just didn't, I was not open to any sort of, you know, no, none of that. But because I realized that I liked him so much, I was like, okay, well shit, maybe I am ready, you know? Maybe. So I decided to go on a date with this guy from my work. Don't ever date anybody that you work with, okay? Please don't do it. Just don't. And that's literally just general real life advice, okay? This has nothing to do with the story. Just don't date anybody you work with, okay? So yeah, I go on a date with this guy, and this is like, oh, okay, I forgot something. So basically, 2 weeks after my brother left, I did call Jace. I called him, and it went straight to voicemail. And I left him a voicemail. And I was like, hey, just wanted to see how you've been. Bye. And I ended the voicemail, and I felt literally so fucking stupid afterwards. I wanted to punch myself in the face. But yeah, he never ended up calling me back, by the way. Until a month later, I decided to go on this date with this guy at my work. He was like 33. I don't know why ever. I think in my head I was just like, okay, mature guy. He seems like he has his life together. Fuck it. So we went out to dinner, and I literally was so fucking bored. So bored. Like, there was too much food on the table for the conversation that him and I were having. Like, we should have just did an entree and then called it a fucking night, because the conversation that we were having was so boring. I wanted it to be over like that. But while I'm sitting there thinking about Jace, who calls me? Jace. Yes, he does. He calls me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I have to get this. And I run to the bathroom, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. What are you doing? And he's like, well, nothing. I just wanted to see if maybe you wanted to hang out. And in my head, I'm like, this is a sign from God that I'm not supposed to be on this date. So I'm like, yeah, do you want to meet somewhere, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, I could just pick you up now. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. So I tell him the restaurant that I'm at, and I tell the guy from work that I gotta go and it's family issues. He knows everything that's been going on with my family, so he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, you know, you're fine, blah, blah, blah. Which, I kid you guys not, while I'm outside waiting for Jace, another girl walks in the restaurant, and I recognize her from work. She walks over to the same table as him. He literally called this girl after I left. Which, I mean, period, no food wasted, but like, damn, okay, you had a backup? Okay, I guess. So I get in the car with Jace, and we go to this one park, and we're sitting there, and he's like, so what were you doing? Why are you dressed all fancy? I was like, I was on a date. Because I wanted him to know. You never called me back, so yeah, I'm not just gonna sit around and wait for you. What the fuck? No. So he looked shocked. Like, genuinely shocked. He's like, with who? And I'm like, some guy from work. And he's like, so you left the date to come hang out with me? He's like, must have not been that good of a date. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. And then we laugh about it, and everything seems fine. And I'm like, so why'd you finally call me? Why'd you finally ask to hang out with me? And he's like, I don't know, maybe I knew that you were on a boring ass date. And then I forget how it got brought up, but apparently my brother told him that I was on a date. So now it's in my head, now I'm sitting here and I'm like, but wait, did you only ask me on a date because you knew that, did you only ask me to hang out today or call me because you knew I was on a date? I was a little bit sus. It was a little bit sus. So now, Jace and I start hanging out more, right? I think things are going well between us. And then one day he randomly is like, who's that guy that you went on the date with? And I'm like, Terry? And he's like, does he still work with you? And I'm like, yeah. Why? And he's like, I don't know, just wondering. So it's a little bit weirded out. And then one day while I'm at work, my manager comes over and she's like, hey, somebody is calling for you. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I answer the phone, and it's Jace. And he's like, why aren't you answering any of my text messages? And I'm like, because I'm at work. And he's like, is Terry working today? And I'm like, he might be, I don't know. I'm working in my own area right now. And he's like, sure. Well, I would appreciate it if you answered my text messages and, you know, actually picked up the phone for me. And then hangs up on me. Weird. So I get home that night and Jace is there and I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, hey, I just really missed you. And I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about the argument that we had earlier that day. I just was like, okay, maybe I might feel the same way if he was working with somebody that he had went on a date with. But yeah, so I'm giving him a hug and then my phone buzzes and he like jerks and looks at my phone and he's like, what was that? Or who's that? And I'm like, work group chat. And he's like, with who? And I'm like, people from work. And he's like, but which people from work? And I'm like, naming off the names. And he's just like really quiet and I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, what about the other guy? And I'm like, what other guy? And I'm like, Terry? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he's not in that group chat. I found out today that he got transferred. And then he goes, that's not what I heard. And I'm like, what do you mean that's not what you heard? You don't work with me. And then he goes, you're getting defensive. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm talking to you. And he goes, same thing. And I'm like, definitely not the same thing. And then y'all, he has the nerve to say to me, which by the way, this is like a few weeks after him and I've been dating. Like, we've been dating for a little bit now. He's like, I just think it's funny that every time I bring him up, you act weird. And I'm like, how do I act weird? I'm annoyed because I told you that he transferred and you're telling me that I'm not telling you the truth when I've never done anything to make you not trust me. And he's like, so I can't ask questions now. And I'm like, you can, but you can't accuse me of doing shit that you know, like, what are you talking about? And then he goes, I just don't think that you would be this mad about me asking about him. And I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm upset that you're twisting my words around. And then he goes, you're mad that I'm not stupid and I'm not gonna play these games. And then he grabs his keys off the counter and storms out of my house. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So then I go to the door and I lock it behind him. And I go to walk back to the kitchen and all I hear is, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I go back over to the door and I unlock it and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, you don't care. And I'm like, what do you mean I don't care? You're the one who just grabbed your keys and stormed out. And he's like, you didn't come after me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna come after you just stormed out of my house and you just accused me of cheating on you. And I'm like, to be quite honest with you, I'm annoyed at you right now and I don't want to see you. And he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. I really like you and I get insecure in this guy. He works with you, blah, blah, blah. And you went on a date with him and this, that, and the next. And I'm like, but I told you that he transferred. And I'm like, and you didn't believe me. And he's like, yeah, but I'm sorry. Forgive me, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I forgive him. We move on, I thought. So at first, his interrogations seemed joking and playful. He would say, how long were you at work? Who clocked out with you? Who'd you go on your break with? Did anybody talk to you while you were on break? If we were on the phone, oh, who's that in the background? Your boyfriend? But over time, they stopped being jokes and they were literal interrogation questions. Like, why do I hear a guy in the background? It's a customer. Yeah, okay. Click. And then there would be some nights where I kind of just wanted my space because of everything going on in life, and I was still grieving over my mother and also still really lonely because my brother wasn't home and my dad was avoiding me. So there would be some times where I just wanted to be alone. But now, instead of him asking to come over, he would literally just show up at my house. I felt like I had no privacy at all. And my thing is I don't think I would have wanted that much privacy if he didn't make me fucking miserable when we were together. Because we would just be sitting there watching a movie and I'd be on my phone. All of a sudden, he'd just yank my phone out of my hand and start going through it. And I would go to reach for it and he'd be like, hold on, I need to do something. I need to check something. Hold on. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I literally just made excuses like, oh, you know, he's just insecure. He told me that his last relationship was super toxic. So, you know, this is what he needs to feel secure in our relationship. I'm sorry, y'all, but if your significant other is going through your phone 24/7, you do not put yourself in a position like that. They are not secure in your relationship and they don't trust you. You don't want to be in a relationship where there's not trust, because that type of stuff starts to weigh on you and then you feel like you're doing something wrong whenever you're not doing anything wrong. And just, that's a big no-no. And if you're checking your partner's phone 24/7, you need to leave them because clearly there's a reason why you're feeling insecure. Get out. Bye. Whether it's because they cheated on you, or you're cheating and you're getting paranoid that they might be cheating, or it's insecurities from a last relationship, you need to go heal. Do not put your partner through that. Or don't let them put you through that, period. And then after that, every time that him and I fought, it was somehow my fault. Either I was being dramatic, giving him attitude, not being truthful, not being able to take a joke, or I must have done something wrong because I'm getting defensive. Again, we get into an argument about this Terry guy. And he's like, this is probably why your ex broke up with you. You were probably like this with your ex. And the thing is like, I told him about my ex. I was open with him and vulnerable and told him about all the shit that I had went through. Which really annoyed me because also whenever we had that conversation after, he was like, well, what did you do? What do you mean, what did I do? So now, finally, the day that he gets me fucking fired, I'm at work. I literally just fucking clocked in. And my manager calls me into her office and she's like, you have a phone call. And before I answer it, she's like, you need to tell your boyfriend that he needs to stop calling you while you're at work. And I'm like, oh, haha, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, and I'm like trying to laugh it off, even though I know that this is about to be a fucking battle. Can't win. So I answer the phone, she leaves the room, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you haven't been answering my texts all morning to you. And I'm like, yeah, because I was running late and I had to get here. And he's like, yeah, and why were you running late? It says that you took 20 minutes to get to work today. Which threw me off because this motherfucker never had my location. So he must have turned that on by himself. Yeah. And I'm like, because there was traffic because I left late. And he's like, is Terry working today? And I'm like, I told you he transferred. I told you he transferred. Like, what else do you want from me? And then he's like, I just don't get why you keep fucking lying to me. And I'm like, lying to you about what? And he's like, I've never once lied to you. And so I'm like, listen, you need to stop calling me here. And then I hang up the fucking phone. And y'all, let me tell you something. I go back over to my phone and I go to shut it off for the day because I'm done with this, right? Tell me why. I go back into the room where all of our lockers are. Who do you think is back there? Terry. Yeah, he is. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm filling in. Y'all, when I tell you, my heart dropped to my ass. Like, it really did. It really fucking did. And then when I go to turn my phone off, the next message from Jace is, don't make me show up there. So now I'm having a panic attack at work. I'm freaking the fuck out all day. Like, all day. And it's not even like Terry was filling in for maybe a few hours. No. One of our managers wasn't going to be there that day, so he was there from open to close. So it's 9:30. Okay, we close at 10. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I made it through the fucking day. He didn't show up. This is perfect. I had to help close. It was me, Terry, and another manager. And now, right now, it's like 8:30. But guess who shows up? Jace. Just as I thought that I made this day through and I wasn't gonna have any fucking issues, he shows up. And he shows up with 3 of his friends. 3 people that I have no idea who they are. They're not the boys that he was hanging out with at my house with my brother. And so he walks in and he looks pissed. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, you didn't answer me. You weren't answering your phone. And I'm like, I told you that I'm at work. I told you I'm at fucking work. And he's like, stop. Like, I don't want to hear the fucking lies. I don't want to hear the lies anymore. And I'm like, Jace. And he's like, no. And then his eyes go to somebody behind me and I already know who the fuck it is. So I'm like, oh, fuck my life. Fuck. So he's like, so you did lie. Because there's that asshole right there. And I'm like, yeah, there he is. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. There he is. So now he starts screaming in my face that I'm a whore, that I'm a slut, that I've been lying to him, that he knew he shouldn't have trusted me. And then my other manager comes out and she's like, you need to fucking leave. You can't be in here yelling. And then Jace is like, you're still talking to him, aren't you? That's why your phone was off. That's why you didn't want to fucking FaceTime me when I asked you to show me who was at work with you. Which, in reality, guys, it's because he wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. That's why my phone was off. And I'm like, I am at work. I'm trying to focus. That is why I was not answering your calls. And he's like, oh yeah, real focused having him around, huh? And then Terry's like, dude, chill out. We're at work. And yeah, not the best thing for him to say, because Jace leaped over the counter with his friends and they beat the fuck out of Terry. They literally beat his ass so bad. I felt so bad, guys. We called the police, but by the time the police had got there, Jace and his friends already left. And I talked to the police and everything, and then Sarah, my manager, she's like, she looks at me and she's like, you need to go now. She's like, you're done. Grab your things, turn in your uniform tomorrow, and go. Y'all. So on my way home, I figured that I'm gonna call the police because I figured that Jace was already at my house. So I call them and I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 you know, like gone to a thing earlier. He's usually at my house after work. So they go there. He's there. They arrest him. He spent probably like a week in jail, which honestly, that was the most peaceful week of my fucking life that I had had in so long. So long. And I told my brother everything that happened, so I ended up moving with him for like a week or two after that. And then I blocked Jace. Still to this day, he stalks me. Like, I still get random accounts trying to follow me on Instagram and random Snapchat ads, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I try to avoid him at all costs. And I moved in with my grandparents who live like 2 states over because fuck no. So yeah, don't trust every guy, you know. I don't know how many more of these PSAs we need in these story times, but just in case you guys forgot. Yeah. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you guys want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, click the links down below in the description because it's finally fixed. But other than that, I will see you guys next time with a new story time.